Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next installment of Operation Parenthood. My name is Livia Ferris, and I'm a County Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences Education in Kentucky. So today we're going to be talking about developmental growth in children ages 12 to 18 months. Okay, so a year to over a year. And this is going to be 4 types of development we're discussing today. So physical, social, emotional, and intellectual. So those are going to be our main focus today. And one thing I also want to stress today is if your child is not exactly following everything we discussed in this video as far as development and different stages, don't be immediately worried. You need to talk to a family physician or a pediatrician or something like that. Don't just automatically assume that every child is the same because every child is different and develops differently. Okay, so beginning with 12-month-olds' physical development. So they may be able to grasp small objects by using their thumb and index finger or forefinger, and they're going to be able to sit well without support. So as you can see in the picture of the child, they are using their thumb and their forefinger and index finger to kind of grasp onto the yellow toy, and then they are setting up upright without any extra kind of help or support. Also, at this point, the child should be able to crawl on their hands and knees. So they've kind of moved past just the rolling over stage or just the lifting their head stage, and now they're actually able to move their hands and knees in a way that's going to begin a crawling motion and actually crawling and being able to move. And then they can pull themselves up in order to stand. A lot of times we observe babies on the end of a couch or on a coffee table, like putting their arms up and beginning to lift, and then they're going to be able to take steps holding onto the furniture. So this is kind of a prerequisite or a just beginning to walk, just the whole pulling themselves up and taking a few steps with support. Also can stand on their own for brief periods of time and can walk while holding hands with somebody else. So they have a trusted adult that they're holding hands with. In addition to the furniture, walking using furniture, they're also going to be able to walk with an adult's help. Socially, so they're going to be making babble sounds that sound like words. So repeat syllables like mama and dad, dad, da. And they might be able to say their first words and then recognize names of family members. So if it's a common name that's used a lot and they've heard a lot, they're going to be able to start identifying and associating that with a person. They're going to understand simple, basic commands. So we're not talking about something with a long step-by-step process. It's going to be 1 or 2 word phrases that are very basic and don't have a lot of steps to them. Okay, so emotional at 12 months. They're going to show affection to familiar adults. Okay, so, and on the other side of the coin, they're going to show an apprehension or fear from strangers. And they're also going to start to show a anxiety and separation when separated from parents. So, they're going to be gravitating more toward trusted adults. So that could be parents or guardians or just people who are in their life a whole lot. And then they're going to start to show fear from people they don't really know. And then they're going to express clear emotions. So anything like pleasure or anger or excitement or joy or sadness or disappointment, it's going to be a more clear expression. While they won't be able to necessarily say clearly, I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling happy, they're going to be able to really use their body language and even some of the different babbling sounds or syllables they're making to express these emotions. So intellectually, they're going to copy adult sounds and actions and respond to music with motion. So a lot of times, we think about babies kind of bouncing a little bit to dance. You're going to be seeing more of that. They're going to try to accomplish simple goals such as seeing and then crawling to a toy. So if they see something they want that's within their capability of getting to, they're going to try to go for that object. They're going to try to, reach it and have that goal in mind. And they're going to look for an object that they watch fall out of sight. So I know in one of our videos, we talked about how with peekaboo, an infant really doesn't have the understanding that once an object is no longer seen by them, that it's still there. And that's why they get so excited with peekaboo, because it's almost like you're reappearing. We call that object permanence. Well, now the child that has more established object permanence is starting to understand that when an object is falling or when it's out of sight, they're going to begin to understand that it's still there. And then they're going to begin to understand that his or her actions make something happen, such as pushing a ball makes it roll away. So as you can see, this child in this picture is kind of moving the ball a little and pushing it, and they're going to understand that me pushing on that ball made it move, it made it roll away. So they're starting to make some association with what they do and how it impacts the world around them. And again, this isn't fully established yet, but the beginning stages of this understanding are clearly present. So now about 18 months, there's going to be some physical changes. They're going to like to pull, push, and dump things. So that kind of goes with what we were talking about earlier. At 12 months, they're beginning to notice how they affect the world around them. Well, now they're going to be more engaged and more wanting to try new things by pulling and pushing and dumping and just really experimenting with play and observations. And then they're going to turn pages and stiff cardboard books. They're going to scribble with crayons, so they're not necessarily holding a crayon the proper way just yet, but they're going to be able to hold it and scribble it. And they're going to walk without help, so they are able to walk. Now, it might not always be 100% stable, but there is walking. And there's going to actually be some slow running. And they're going to be kind of lurching forward or like lurching in a kind of fashion that's not really running like we think of as an adult, but it is going to be a quicker movement other than walking. And then they're going to be able to stack 2 or 3 blocks together. So they might not be quite there where they have a large tower, but they're going to start to move and manipulate the objects around them to create things. So socially, they're going to be able to say 8 to 10 understandable words and then ask for something or someone by pointing or using one word. So if they know the name of a family member or a trusted adult, or the name of a toy, like for example if they have a bear and its name is Teddy, they're going to be able to point to Teddy or say Teddy, and that way that would cue the adult to get them Teddy or for them to get to the bear. And then they're going to act out familiar activities such as taking a bath or eating food. Now they might not necessarily be able to take an object that doesn't have anything to do with eating and pretend to eat it or something like that. They might, take an actual spoon and pretend to eat. They could be that imaginative at this point, but probably not. It really just depends on the individual child. But they are going to start to show some of that initiative in imaginative play. So emotionally, they're going to protest when they're frustrated, and they're going to like being the center of attention and making others laugh. Okay, so they really want a lot of attention on them. They're going to start to grow in sense of ownership of their possessions. So this is where you're going to see them saying, oh, that's my toy, it's mine, and more sense of not really wanting to share because it belongs to them and it's their possession. And then in addition to that, they're going to start to recognize themselves in the mirror, but not only that, it's going to be in pictures. So I know earlier we talked about the children seeing themselves in the mirror and smiling, but at this point they're actually able to identify themselves outside of just in the mirror, but also in photos. So intellectually, they're going to identify objects in picture books. You can see the child on the right here. She is looking at a book, and she'll probably be able to identify a gorilla if you say, which one is the gorilla? Or the panda if you say, which one is the panda? Or if you just say the word gorilla or panda. And then they're going to laugh at something silly or something they find amusing, and they'll follow simple direction. Again, it's not going to be something with a step-by-step process, but simple, basic directions that are very clear. And then they're going to solve problems through a trial and error process using real objects. So they're going to start to move things around. They're going to start to really, they're not just putting things in their mouth and banging them anymore. They're like actually going in there and experimenting and trying different things with the objects. And then they're going to use a stick as a tool to obtain a toy. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean like a stick you find in a backyard. This is just a, stick-like shape tool or some other tool that. For example, let's say there was a toy on a table and the child couldn't quite reach it. Well, they might take a toy plastic hammer they have, or like a plastic toy drumstick, and kind of try to use that to drag or move the object toward them so they can reach it, or even knock it off the table. And then they're going to start to push away something or someone that they do not want or is not wanted. That's just a greater indication, and that actually goes right with emotion, and be able to identify emotions and what they're feeling. So they're also going to be able to bring a stool to use to reach something. So they're beginning to understand, if something's out of my reach, there are ways I can use a tool to get what I need. So that's just becoming more established. So in summary of the 12-month to 18-month-olds in physical, social, emotional, and intellectual development are that by 12 months, the child may be crawling and pulling themselves up to stand. They're going to understand basic commands and phrases, just very basic things. Again, this isn't a long process of step-by-step directions, just basic commands. They're going to express clear emotions. Now, while they might not be able to, at this point, say, I am happy, I am feeling this, they're going to let you know. It's going to be more clear, much more clear than 3 to 6 months. And then they're going to copy adult sounds and faces. So they're going to start to experiment, and if a trusted adult, a parent or guardian or grandparent or whoever's in their life, if they're making like a really excited face or really sad face, they might try to copy those faces and experiment with those in addition to the sounds. And then by 18 months, they may be pulling, pushing, and dumping things. They'll be able to say 8 to 10 understandable words, and these words might not necessarily be in like a sentence or something like that. It'll just be a single word, but it's going to be more understandable. And then they're going to recognize themselves in the mirror and even in pictures. They also may be using tools such as something to reach a toy across the table by using another toy, and just, a more established using different objects. So they're going to have different things, and they're going to understand that different tools do different things. So that's it for this installment of Operation Parenthood. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.